Welcome to Real Estate Real World, where we talk to the movers, shakers, and leaders that are getting it done right now in the real estate industry and beyond. I'm your host, Marguerite Crespillo, and I started this podcast simply dedicated to calling people about what's really happening in this crazy roller coaster ride of real estate. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and stay up to date on the newest stuff by adding yourself to the list at www.realestaterealworld.com. Now, let's dive into the world of real estate. Hello, everybody. Guess what time it is? It is time for Real Estate Real World, where we get to talk to all the cool people. And this young man is pretty inspiring. I was recently at EXPCon and in Miami, and he came up to me and started talking, telling me about what he's doing. He's only been in real estate about a year. And he is crushing it out there with some stuff that he's figured out. So I said, my goodness, we need to have you on my podcast. So I'm really excited to welcome Tristan. Hang on one sec. Let me read his information. Tristan Adams is a driven go-getter who's been ahead of the game from the start. Dual enrolled in high school, Tristan graduated with a stellar 4.64 GPA and even earned an associate degree before finishing high school. By 19, he'd already completed a business management degree. With 6.5 years of experience at Chick-fil-A and a stint in jewelry sales, Tristan discovered a passion for real estate. In just 15 months, he's taken 22 listings, building his business entirely on FSBOs. Tristan's story is a testament to hard work, strategy, and the power of determination. Welcome, Tristan.
What's up?
No, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I'm excited to see you. I know we've been playing a little tag here, trying to get you on the show, but I'm glad we were finally able to make it happen. So I can't believe your high school record. Like for me, I barely graduated high school. I think I took my biology test the day before graduation so I could get a D so I could graduate. But the good news is my report card said talks too much. So that worked out for me in real estate. So you're way smarter than me. So there you go.
No, I was also the class clown. Like I just talked way too much. And I just paired it with, I guess a little bit like try hard. Like my friends were super try hard in school. So I was like, I can too,
There you go. That's awesome. And then how did you decide you wanted to get into real estate? Were you talking to somebody and they're like, dude, you should go get your license?
No. So I had actually paid for, I don't know why, but I had paid for a real estate course. And then about 10, 11 months go by, I'm working at this like jewelry sales shop. I'm selling jewelry. And I was like, dude, I hate this. And it was from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. So it was like overnight because I was actually selling jewelry to the people over in the West Coast where you are. And so then I was like, dude, I hate this, but I can't get out of it. I don't have the money for it. And so I knew I had paid for the real estate course. And so I was like, I might as well finish the course. And then I finished it and I was like, well, I might as well take the test. And I passed it. I was like, I might as well join a brokerage. And I was like, I might as well figure out how to sell. And I was like, I might as well pick up the phones and call FSBOs. So it slowly just progressed into it.
That's crazy. That's really interesting. First of all, I didn't pass the real estate exam on the first time. So it took me a few times to pass it, but I finally did. And I'm now have been in real estate longer than you are old, frankly. So there you go. But my son who's taking his real estate exam next week. So I'm excited for him to hopefully follow my path. Maybe we'll see what he does. So you joined EXP, and how did you hear about? No, you didn't. Where are you? Oh,
no,
you're current.
I'm with EXP now, but I originally joined Keller Williams.
Okay. And so what made you decide to switch from Keller Williams to EXP in your first year?
Yeah. So I got to the point where I had quit my job I had stacked up enough closings. I saved enough money, quit my job. And then I started like slowly killing it. Like I was getting like really good, but I didn't know how to manage my business or create systems that made me more efficient. And then I was okay. Like I was pretty good at FSBOs, but not great. And so then when I got 5 on the market, a bunch of brokerages were just reaching out to me. I guess that's like their or whatever. Yeah. And so then a bunch of people reached out to me. I pretty much went through all these different like interviews, but then shout out Jessica Wade. She sat down with me at EXP and not once did she talk about her brokerage. Not once. She was literally just there to help me. And I was like, crap, I was like,
Yeah.
that's what made me interested in her brokerage, because I was like, you're the only one that hasn't even talked about it. So then she like reversed psychology me, and I was like, hey, tell me more. And so she was telling me more. I didn't even join EXP for EXP. I just joined because I needed a mentor. And now since I've been with EXP, like I had square wheels, like dragging a wagon, but she just made the wheels like round. And now
I
it's
love that.
super efficient, super clean, and it's awesome.
That's a great analogy. I love that. I've not heard that before. So what is it you figured out with for sale by, and so just so our listeners know, FSBO is a for sale by owner. It's somebody who's decided not to use a real estate agent for whatever reason, if they're trying to save money or think they can do it better or whatever the situation is. But that's the language for in the real estate industry, what we call for sale by owners or FSBOs. And so that seems to be the area that you started to target. And how did you end up getting into that arena?
Yeah. So I was doing on the phone sales for jewelry. And so I was already like cold calling. And so I was like, I could probably pick up the phones and call FSBOs. And it was also the cheapest lead because it was free. They already, raised their hand. I wanted money quick. They raised their hand and said, hey, I want to sell. I just don't want a realtor. So then it was real easy to choose a motivated seller. And then also, I didn't want to sell to my friends or family. I always thought it was like really weird to ask friends or family, hey, I'm a realtor. Can you give me some business or whatever? So no one actually knew I was a realtor until I was at the closing table of my first closing, and I posted a picture on Facebook like, hey, by the way, I'm a realtor. Like, here's my first closing, and that's when everyone knew. So that's why I
That's
chose.
awesome. The good news is now you have a lot more opportunity to help your family and friends. And because that's a great source of business. So what do you think you did differently? What are you doing differently with for sale by owners than the average person out there?
Yeah. So when I first started FSBOs, I swear it's just divine intervention. I think God felt bad for me because I just sucked. It was awful. I would just pick up the phone. I was like, hey, I don't even know what I'm doing, but like they said to call FSBOs. And so I don't know. I went through all that. I ended up getting a client and then another client a month later and then another client a month later. But it was really just like tripping over blessings because I really don't feel like I did anything. It wasn't until I created like a legit system around FSBOs, like now I'm cranking them and it's awesome. And I'm serving them at a high level. So essentially they pay me a fat commission check. They pay someone else a fat commission check and they still make more money. And that's essentially like what I walk them through. So talk about like the actual system in and of itself. The first contact is just calling them on the phone, and cold calling, I've split in 3 different sections of the actual call. So the first section of the call is like the pattern interrupt, because no one wants to talk on the phone. No one wants to be interrupted. So you have to get them off that brain of, oh, it's another cold caller. This sucks.
Right.
Then the second is the meat of the conversation. Like, how can I set myself apart from everyone else during the actual conversation? And then the close. And the close is my favorite part that I'll get to in a second. But right when I answer the phone, it's like, hey, I bet you've already talked to a million realtors. And they're like, yeah, I have. And I'm like, yeah, I have. Make it 1,000,001. And they're like, aha. I'm like, hey, are you selling for sale by owner because you're trying to save on the commission or you don't trust realtors? And then we just go down the path, like whatever they choose. Sometimes they say both. Sometimes they say just commission. Sometimes they say realtors. And so then I try to just educate them. I never hard sell them. I never try to list it. A lot of them will be like, hey, if you're trying to list my property, don't even worry about it. I'm like, if you wanted to list your property, you would have already listed it. I'm just interested. What if I come across a buyer that is interested in your house? I'm just hustling. I'm trying to make some money. You're trying to sell a house. Like, I feel like it's beneficial for us to talk. And so then I end up scheduling an appointment with them to just see their house. And that's really all it is. It's like at no point, it wasn't until I did this. I used to hard sell people like over the phone, like until I got a listing appointment. And that listing appointment, I try to hard sell them. And again, I'd get like 1 a month. But whenever I was just there to serve them and all I did was just there to help them. And so while I'm on the phone scheduling the preview, I'm saying, hey, if you change your first picture to make it much nicer, maybe more people would want to see it. And then it's awesome. I'll see you at the preview. And then I go to the preview. And by the way, every realtor sets up a preview, every single one. But they always come with a packet and they try to list the property there. So like just by contrast, I'm the only one that they're going to remember because I didn't come to sell them on anything. At no point did I ask them for the sale. And I came with true intentions. I'm literally just there to see the property. And everyone else says, I just want to see the property. I just want to preview it for my out-of-state buyer. It's all a load of crap. And then they have their listing package that they're going to be like, hey, by the way, if you want to list your property. So it's like real like weird. And there's like a disconnect, like cognitive dissonance where like I told them I'm going to be doing something, but in my heart, I'm doing something else. And I show up, I'm like, hey, this is awesome. But I would take down all the photos of you because you want the buyers to think that it's their house and not your house. And then I'm like, this looks nice. And I would probably pressure wash the outside. It just makes it look cleaner, like you've taken really good care of it. Awesome. You have a good day. And then I just leave. Like I leave them on a high note. I call them back the next day, like, hey, I told all the people that I might know about it. No one's really interested. But I would think that if you did this, I just told him something else that may help him, that it might help. Awesome. I'll follow up with you in a week. And then I followed them 3 or 4 days later, not actually a week. Be like, hey, you know what? I had a great idea. I had to call you before a week. Have you considered an open house? Sometimes they don't sell your house, but it at least tells the neighbors that your house is for sale. That's important. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think you consider that. Maybe tell the neighbors, pass out property flyers, post on the Facebook group chat that, hey, my house is for sale. We have an open house. Bring a friend. And then they're like, yeah, awesome. Sounds good. I'm like, awesome. You have a good day. Actually, hold on, before I leave, you mind if I ask a favor? They're like, yeah, of course. I've already provided 3-4 pieces of value. If you get to the point where you just hate listing and you hate this FSBO process, would you just consider me? Like, just give me a shot? They're like, yeah, of course I will. I'm like, awesome. You have a good day. Hang up. And so then I call back the next week after the open house. Did your house sell? And they're like, no. I'm like, no kidding. The house is awesome. The price is great. And they're like, you know what? We were thinking about calling you because this is awful. This is not working like I thought. No kidding. I actually have availability tomorrow at 4 and Thursday at 2. Which one would be better for you? And like, let's just do Thursday at 2. Awesome. I'll see you there.
Wow. And then how have you, so from there, how many have you actually closed yet?
From doing the new process, 6.
Awesome. So what is your goal?
For next year, 50.
50. Holy schmoly. That'd be awesome.
That also includes all of the referrals that I'm slowly starting to get. That was another reason I chose FSBOs, because I wanted to like quickly build up my database, because the NAR statistic is that 10% of all your contacts will end up turning into business. 5% will be direct business and 5% will be referrals from your contacts. If I have 500 people in my database that I can call on and they know my name and they like, know, and trust me, I can statistically expect 50 pieces of business. And so like my database is already starting to grow. I'm starting to get some referrals here and there, but I expect by the end of next year, 50, with getting even better at FSBOs and prospecting and door knocking, and then also just referrals.
So I'll tell you, I've been in real estate it'll be 31 years in December. And what I preach and talk about frequently is the most valuable thing that you own is your database. It is literally the most valuable thing that you own. And I'm so happy that you are learning that so quickly in your career, because even every single one of those for sale by owners that you're working with, every single one of those people that you meet, people from school, family, friends, all that kind of thing, should all go in your database. And let me explain to you, I've told this story many times on my podcast, how valuable that is. So I sold a $50,000 HUD home to a gal in 1997. I don't think you were born yet. And I sold her a $50,000 HUD home. My commission at the time was like $1,500. It wasn't much, right? But this gal, Linda, has since bought and sold 8 homes through me. But here's where it gets really good. She has referred people who have referred people who have referred people 8 levels deep, over 70 referrals, over $400,000 in commissions since 1997. And it still continues to build and grow. And I'm seeing your eyes lighting up right there, right? So imagine if with each one of those people that you're working with, you help them understand the value of referrals, and hopefully they can send somebody your way. And, and you stay in contact with them, meaning, we have a system called mail call visit, right? Mail them. I'm talking snail mail in addition to email, good old fashioned snail mail. Calling them a few times a year, and not calling to say, can I help you buy or sell a home, because you've probably already sold their home, but calling to just check in. Is there anything I can help you with? Maybe they need a referral for carpet cleaners or chimney sweep or roof repairs or things like that. And the last one is visit. How often can you either swing by once a year, visit them, say hi, or do client events, which are my favorite. So, for example, I host 3 to 4 client events a year. This afternoon, I'm doing a big pie party with my lender, right? Where we're inviting people to come get pies. And whatever that style is for you, it might not be pie parties, might be summer carnival or music festival. Or I had a guy who went out and found in his local community, they would do outdoor movie nights at the park or music in the park. And this guy, he didn't have any money. He was broke. So what did he do? He couldn't afford to put on a whole event. He borrowed a pop-up tent from somebody. He went out to the summer music in the park, put up a pop-up tent and put VIP tent on it.
That's awesome.
And then people are like, well, how do we get in the VIP tent? Right? And he had like waters and sodas or whatever. He had some stuff that he put some little snacks in his VIP tent, and he put this VIP tent up. I thought that was brilliant. So there's all kinds of cool things that you can do like that, right? For whatever your demographic is, your age group. When I first got into real estate, I was young. And so a lot of the clients I would attract would be more my age. Now I've been doing this. So now I'm selling grandkids' houses, but it's still a ton of fun. So you have you're so moldable. It's so fun to see and figure out what you can do. So I would actually, if I were you, I would sit down and put your plan together for the coming year, right? And in that plan, you have 3 different arenas for where you get business from. You have personal connections, your database. You have business connections, people that run businesses, like we were just mentioning that maybe that customer says they need their carpets cleaned. So guess what? You go find some carpet cleaners and you have a directory that you put together, right? And the last one is advertising. So FSBOs would probably fall under advertising, right? But there's lots of different open houses fall under advertising. Where are you spending your money? Signs, that kind of thing. So that if you start doing that now, imagine where you'll be 30 years from now.
That's a great point. I like your story about that. That's just one client.
Just one.
And that doesn't even include anyone else.
That's just one client in my database. And I have about 1,400 people in my database. So, it's constantly, and you're right. Your database is constantly going to help you generate business because people want to use people they know and trust. And a lot of times I send out little letters, tell little stories about my life, how exciting things are, or what's going on in my neighborhood. You probably don't remember these, but the old days you used to get these Christmas letters that would have all the gossip for your family in them. And they're not gossip letters. They're just, I would say, Aunt Susie got her real estate license this year, or whatever. It would say all this gossip. But they're just fun letters about your life and what you're doing. Like what kind of things? Here's another question. What do you do for fun?
Man, I love anything sports. I like to compete. I like to beat people. So basketball, soccer, ping pong, pickleball, name it. Like I just want to win.
It's funny how pickleball has taken off because that was not even a thing until not too long ago. And it seems like that's mostly for some of us more mature people love pickleball, but it's taken off, isn't it?
What got me into it was I'm super competitive, like super competitive.
I see that.
So then there was 2 70-year-olds and one was wearing a knee brace and she couldn't walk. Like she hobbled onto the court and she couldn't move. And I was like, oh, dude, these guys are getting crushed. I had just started playing. I was like, I'm not even good, but I'm going to beat these 70-year-olds. It's, I don't know, easier. They beat me 11-0. I couldn't get it.
I love it.
So after that, I was like, oh, no, this has never happened again. I'm beating and so me and my wife are hooked. Now that it's a little bit more cold, we don't really hop out in the cold, but we're hooked.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What does your wife think about all your competitive craziness?
I can be a sore loser sometimes. She is better than me at ping pong, and that drives me nuts. I cannot beat her in ping pong, and it drives me nuts. I don't know what it is, and so she appreciates the competitive drive because obviously there's a direct correlation to real estate and winning in FSBOs or whatever it is, and so she appreciates it there. But obviously, if I beat her, it's not fun. If she beats me, it's not fun. So,
how long have you guys been married?
2.5 years.
Oh, congratulations. So I actually wrote a book about marriage. I've been with my husband 38 years, and it is called 100 Things I Love About You. So I'll be sure to send you a copy so you can read it. And yeah, my husband and I have been together 38 years. So there's a lot of ups and downs. So the premise of the book is that we had been married for a bit and we had 2 young kids, and our kids were, I think, 6 and 7, something like that. And things were getting a little challenging in our relationship. I was working a lot. He was working and traveling a lot. I woke up one day and I said, today's the day. We're either going to an attorney or a counselor. You decide. And luckily my husband's a smart man. So he made an appointment with a counselor and we went to the therapist. And at the first appointment, they're like, why are you here? And he's, because she made me. And I said, wrong answer, jerk. And we go to the second appointment and they talk a little bit about family background. My husband and I come from very different backgrounds. He's first generation American. His family came from Spain. So he's old school, stay married, death till you part, that kind of thing. Me, on the other hand, my mom had been married 4 times. I didn't really have any good role models or examples. So the third appointment, they have you come back separately, right? And I go in and the therapist says, so are you done or is there a chance we can make this work? And I said, well, he's at least here. So I'm at least willing to put in some effort. So he says, I'd like you to make a list of the things that you love about him. I'm like, I don't think I could do that right now. So I don't like him very much right now. And he goes, I said, I've done the pros and the cons outweigh the pros. He goes, why don't you just set the cons aside and write down the pros? So I went home and I'm a little competitive as well. So I decided I was going to try to come up with a list of 100. And for a few days, I couldn't think of anything. And I was like, this is not going to work. I'm not going to make it. And after a few days, I woke up one day and there was tea next to my bed. My husband has always made me tea in the morning and sets it next to my bed. And I was like, I love that about him, right? And then I was like, oh, he's a good dad. He's funny. And I started to make my list. So I only made it, truthfully, to 45. And the other part of the truth is my husband didn't change a thing. He didn't do anything. The only thing that changed was my perspective, right? All of a sudden, I started to focus on the things that I loved about him instead of the things that drove me crazy. And that list I gave to him for our anniversary that year, and it saved our marriage. And so I will tell you that being early in your marriage, it would be a really good idea. I'll send you my book for you to make your list now and have your wife write your list now, because there's going to be days when you aren't going to like each other very much. Right? And it's going to be important for you to remember what you love about them. And I actually, on my way to Miami for EXPCon, wrote my second book, which I'm working on the final edits and stuff for it, called 100 Things I Love About Real Estate. So I'm putting that book together, and I'm excited about that. So there you go. You've been married 2.5 years, and let's hope you make it to at least 38.
Well, death do us part, right? You know, sometimes you just want to put her in a chokehold.
Yeah, that doesn't really work out so well.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work out so well, but you still love them. It's just something like, oh my gosh, and I'm sure she wants them.
Oh, I'm sure she wants to throttle you. You guys are young. You have a long way to go. I'm really excited for you. This is exciting. You got a new marriage, you got a new career, and I'm excited to see where this road takes you. What are you hoping to accomplish in the next year? You're going to sell 50 homes. We heard that.
Yeah, before every year, I always write down my goals and I put them, and they stay here. So I put my top 3. I always have a word of the year. So the word of this year was focus. It was just focusing on buying and selling real estate. Like I had a couple other like business opportunities come my way, but I decided against them because it's just focus, like buying and selling real estate. And then I had my 3 favorite Bible verses like for this year, and then my 2024 goals. And I liked the goals. Are you familiar with the term BHAG?
Yep. Big hairy ass goals, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. So,
audacious is better. It's more polite.
But my BHAG for next year is to buy a house in cash. I just always would love to do that, and we're slowly getting there. In the last 90 days of being at EXP, just from smoothing out the round wheels, I've already put 11 on the market and closed 6 just in 90 days. Awesome. And so I can only imagine what the next whole year is going to allow me to do. And so my BHAG is actually going to be closing 50 transactions. And then I'm not really worried about GCI. But before the end of the year, I'll come up with the rest of my goals. And they're going to be like actionable goals that I can actually obtain. But they're going to be pretty far out, so I got to stretch and keep hustling to get there.
Do you own a home now?
No, I'm in an apartment.
Okay. We'll have a separate conversation about that. But you don't need to pay cash for it. Get in as easy as you can and to hang on to your cash. Hang on to your cash, and that can help you buy, because instead of paying cash for one house, you could take that cash and buy 10 houses.
So I'm a super Dave Ramsey nerd, and everyone hates me in the real estate industry because of it, and especially lenders, but it's whatever. So there's 436 Bible verses that talk about debt, and every single one of them are negative. Like they're not like neutral, and they're not positive. Every single one of them are negative. And so the way I feel about it is, if I have the opportunity to continuously work hard, obviously mortgage is like good debt, but if I'm killing it and I continue to kill it, I wouldn't see why a $400,000 house in cash would not be obtainable. And so it's at least worth me accomplishing that goal.
I totally understand that. I'm just saying, keep your mind open to other options, right? Dave Ramsey's a good guy. He's got a lot of positive things, but there's more than one way to skin a cat, right?
No, 100%. You're funny because that's a few people have slowly started to, drip onto me about that goal. And so a part of me is thinking, hey, is it noise trying to distract me from my goal? Or are these people like genuinely trying to help me? And I am super malleable. And so I do listen to my mentors. And by the way, like super side note, I think that's like the most important thing you can do in any industry is you take a mentor who's been in an industry for 38 years or however long you've been in it, and you learn what they learn in 6 months. There's no better arbitrage of time than a mentor. Like it's just like reading a book. Some dude has studied sales for 20 years and wrote a book that I can read in 6 hours. There's no better investment. And so that's the way I feel about mentorship. Anyways, side note. So
I love that. And I say it in a little different way. I call it the bigger pile theory, right?
let me hear it.
So if I have a bigger pile theory, if I have a bigger pile than you of education, money, knowledge, experience, whatever that is, then you listen to me. As soon as you have a bigger pile than me in that, then I guess I start listening to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not always accurate and true. Some people obviously give you bad advice, but the reality is, it's up to you to determine if that advice works for your particular situation. There's lots of theories that go the opposite of Dave Ramsey, right? And they all work. Some don't. Dave Ramsey's system works for some and it doesn't work for others. So it's always really trying to figure out, you could conceivably have several $1 million worth of real estate with $400,000 as opposed to having one home that you have all of your cash in. I'm also not a huge advocate of putting all my eggs in one basket, right? So because I've been through the real estate market for 31 years and I've seen the market crash. And I've seen it go to where that $400,000 home you bought for cash is now worth $250,000, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can look at it and find what works for you and your life. And that to me, I think is the beauty of real estate, because you can genuinely build your own version of success, whatever that might look like for you. Your version might be totally different than mine. Mine might be totally different than yours, but we have the opportunity that someone young like you is able to do crazy things in this business. And there's not a whole lot of other industries that you could do the same thing in.
No, that's so true.
So kudos to you. I'm so glad that you came up to me at EXPCon, and I'm glad that we finally got to have you on my podcast. And I'm really excited to follow your story and see what you do with it.
Yeah, I'll be stalking all your socials and see what you do. And it'll be fun.
I'll stalk you right back. There you go. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tristan. It was such a pleasure to get to talk to you and get to know you. And I'm excited to watch you flourish out there. You're on your way, my friend. You're on your way.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Do you mind if I shout something out?
Please.
Yeah, so every Monday I host a sales-oriented call. It's purely just about prospecting from 10:30 to 11:30, my time, not your time. And
which is Eastern Standard Time. So.
Eastern Standard Time. And so it's free for anyone to join. We just go over like different topics. And if no one has a topic, they just listen to me prospect. And so it might be helpful for your people. If not, cool. Doesn't matter to me. Show up or don't.
That would be amazing. How do they get access to that?
Ooh, that's a great point. Probably my YouTube.
Okay. We'll definitely post your YouTube link in the show notes so people can reach out to you. I'm sure you can find him anywhere on social. We'll be posting all of his social links in our show notes. So thank you for shouting that out, Tristan.
Yeah,
I might hop on there one day. Send me the link and I'll see if I can hop on one day. That would be fun. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Real Estate Real World, where we get to talk to all the cool people, including the up-and-coming rising stars like Tristan. Be sure to follow us on socials, and I would love to have a review if you feel so inclined. By the way, I've also just launched a new report that I put together on my website at margueritecrespillo.com called the 10 Fatal Mistakes Real Estate Agents Make That's Holding Them Back. So you can head on over to margueritecrespillo.com and throw your name in there and we'll send you that free report. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on Real Estate Real World. Go out and make it an amazing day. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us today on Real Estate Real World, where we talk with masters and leaders in the real estate industry and beyond on how we can raise the bar in our industry. Please subscribe over on iTunes, and while you're there, be sure to give us a review. Your reviews encourage us and help others to find our podcast for show notes and hot topics on what's going on right now in our real estate industry. Also, hop on over to www.realestaterealworld.com and add your name to our email to get early advance notice of upcoming podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and go out there and be a part of the elite masterclass and raising the bar on the real estate industry.